The alarm bells rang through the space station like angry metal birds. Commander Zixtal clicked his forearms together as he rushed down the narrow hallway. His insect-like body moved fast on 6 legs. The emergency meeting had been called just 20 minutes ago. Something big was happening in the dead zone of space. The council room was already full when he arrived. 12 different alien races sat around the large table. Some had scales, others had fur. A few looked like walking crystals. They all shared one thing: they looked scared. "Show them the readings," said High Counselor Vorth. He was old even for his lizard-like people. His green skin had deep lines from many years of worry. His red eyes glowed as he looked at the hologram table in the center of the room. The air above the table shimmered. Then it showed a map of their part of the galaxy. Most of it was filled with colored dots showing where different alien races lived. But one part was completely black. This was the void sector. Nothing lived there. Nothing could live there. 3 days ago, our long-range sensors picked up something strange, Zixtal said. His voice came through a small machine that turned his clicking sounds into words the others could understand. Energy signals. Big ones. Moving through the void sector. Ambassador Nethara leaned forward. She was beautiful in the way her crystal people were beautiful. Light seemed to dance inside her clear body. "That is impossible," she said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "The void sector has been dead for 1,000 years. Our ships cannot even go near it. The radiation kills everything." "Yet something is moving through it," Zixtal replied. He touched a control, and the hologram changed. Now it showed wave patterns and energy readings. "These signals are huge, bigger than our largest warships, and there are many of them." The room became very quiet. Only the soft hum of the space station's air systems could be heard. Finally, a small, furry being called Piptar spoke up. "Could it be the Hegemony? Maybe they have new ships we do not know about?" "No," said Vorth firmly. "The energy patterns are wrong. This is something else. Something we have never seen before." A young officer ran into the room. She was from the same race as Zixtal, but smaller. "Commander," she said, breathing hard. "We just lost contact with mining station Kepler 7. Their last message was very strange." "What did they say?" Zixtal asked. The young officer looked at her datapad. "They said, 'Impossible ships approaching. They look like the old stories. They have come back.'" Then nothing. The silence in the room grew heavier. Several aliens looked at each other with wide eyes. Ambassador Nethara's crystal body flickered. "With nervous light. The old stories," she whispered. "You do not mean—" Vorth stood up slowly. His old bones creaked. "Tell them, Nethara. Tell them what your people's children learn about the ancient times." Nethara did not want to speak, but all eyes were on her. "The stories say that long ago, before most of our races reached the stars, there was another people. They called themselves humans, Terrans. They ruled much of this galaxy." "Just stories," said Piptar quickly. "Myths to scare children." "My people have records," Vorth said. His voice was deep and serious. "Very old records. They speak of a race that looked different from all of us. They had pink or brown skin, hair on their heads, 2 arms, 2 legs. They built great cities on thousands of worlds." "What happened to them?" asked a new voice. "It belonged to Captain Rexara, a warrior from the Stellar Union. His blue skin was covered in battle scars." Vorth sat back down. "They vanished. All of them. In a single year, every human world went silent. Their great fleets disappeared. Some say they died from a terrible sickness. Others believe they fled to the dark spaces between galaxies. That was 1,000 years ago." "You are saying," Zixtal clicked slowly, "that these signals might be the humans returning?" "I am saying we should be very careful," Vorth replied. "The records describe their ships as unlike anything we have ever built. If they truly have returned, we do not know what they want, or what they have become." The hologram table beeped. New data was coming in. The energy signatures in the void sector were moving. They were moving toward inhabited space. "How long until they reach our territory?" asked Ambassador Nethera. Zixtal studied the readings. At their current speed, 3 days. Maybe 4. We must prepare our fleets, Captain Rexara said. He stood up, his hand moving to his weapon. If these are invaders, we will do nothing aggressive, Forth interrupted. If these are truly the humans of legend, then we are facing beings who once ruled the galaxy. They had technology we still do not understand. If we attack them, we may doom us all. Then what do we do? Piptar asked. His small voice shook with fear. Forth looked around the room at each alien face. We wait, we watch, and we pray to whatever gods we believe in that they come in peace. On the hologram table, the mysterious signals continued their slow approach toward the worlds of the living. After 1,000 years of silence, something was returning from the void. Something that should not exist, moving through space where nothing should be able to survive. The age of legends was about to become the age of truth. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the front window of his ship. Outside, space looked empty and black. But he knew better. His people had learned to see things that others could not. Behind him, the bridge of the UEA Defiance hummed with quiet activity. Distance. To the first inhabited system? He asked. Lieutenant Amy Collins checked her screen. 2 days at current speed, Captain. Long-range sensors are picking up lots of radio signals. The galaxy is much more crowded than when we left. Jake nodded. It had been so long since humans had seen their home galaxy. 1,000 years of traveling through the empty darkness between galaxies. 20 generations of people born and died on ships like this one. Now they were finally home. Captain, called Chief Engineer Ben Parker from his station. The stealth field is working perfectly. To their sensors, we look like empty space. All 300 ships in the fleet are invisible. Jake turned to look at his crew. These people were the children of Earth, but they were also something new. The long journey had changed humanity in ways their ancestors never imagined. They were stronger, smarter, and had technology that would seem like magic to the aliens who now lived in their old galaxy. Dr. Kate Johnson walked over to Jake. She was the smartest person on the ship, maybe in the whole fleet. Her job was to study the aliens and figure out how much the galaxy had changed. The radio signals are very interesting, she said. At least 12 different species, maybe more. They all seem to be working together in something called the Galactic Council. Any mention of humans in their transmissions? Jake asked. Kate shook her head. Nothing direct. But there are strange references to old myths and ancient legends. I think we have become stories they tell their children. Jake felt a mix of sadness and anger. His people had not chosen to leave. They had been forced out by a terrible sickness that killed humans, but left other species alone. The Exodus ships had been humanity's last hope. They had fled to the dark spaces beyond the galaxy to survive and rebuild. Sir, Amy called out, I am picking up emergency transmissions from multiple systems. The aliens are scared about something. They keep talking about energy signatures in the void sector. That would be us, Ben said with a smile. 300 human ships coming home after 1,000 years. I bet that is showing up on their sensors. Jake walked back to his command chair. Around him, the bridge crew worked at their stations. These people had never seen Earth. For them, home was the ships of the fleet. But they still carried the dreams and hopes of humanity. What are your orders, Captain? Amy asked. Jake thought, for a long moment. They could stay hidden and just observe. They could find an empty world and settle quietly. Or they could do what he knew was right. Open a secure channel to all fleet commanders, he said. It is time for a meeting. An hour later, Jake sat in a conference room with holographic images of the other ship captains. Admiral Steve Carter commanded the military ships. Ambassador Lisa Turner was in charge of talking to other species. Dr. Johnson represented the scientists. 20 other captains filled the virtual space. The question before us is simple, Jake began. Do we hide or do we reveal ourselves? The aliens might attack us, Admiral Carter said. He was a serious man who always thought about danger first. We do not know how they will react to our return. Our technology is far beyond theirs. said Captain Danny Rodriguez. He commanded one of the scout ships. Their weapons cannot even touch our shields. If they attack, we can defend ourselves easily. Ambassador Turner looked worried. But should we? These species have built their own civilization here. They might see us as invaders trying to take back what we once owned. This galaxy was our home first, said Captain Helen Brooks. She was young but spoke with authority. We have every right to return. Dr. Johnson brought up data on her screen. I have been studying their biology and culture. Most of these species have only been in space for a few hundred years. They do not even know we ever existed. To them, humans are just old stories. Maybe that is for the best, Amy said. She had been promoted to captain of her own ship just before they entered the galaxy. If they think we are myths, they will not be expecting us. Jake listened to all the opinions, but he had already made his decision. We came home for a reason. Not to hide in the shadows, but to reclaim our place among the stars. These aliens have built something good here. The Galactic Council sounds like it brings peace to many worlds. We should try to join it, not destroy it. And if they refuse to accept us, Admiral Carter asked, then we will show them that legends can become real, Jake replied. But we will give them a chance to welcome us first. The vote was close, but Jake's plan won. They would make contact with the Galactic Council. Ambassador Turner would lead a small diplomatic mission to their main station. The rest of the fleet would wait nearby, ready to help if needed. As the meeting ended, Jake remained in his chair. Through the window, he could see the distant glow of stars where alien civilizations lived and worked. Soon those beings would learn that humans were more than just old stories. Computer, he said aloud, begin recording a message for the Galactic Council archives. The computer beeped to show it was listening. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth Alliance ship Defiance. To any who receive this message, know that humanity has returned to the galaxy of our birth. We come not as conquerors, but as neighbors seeking to rejoin the community of worlds. We have much to offer and much to learn. The age of legends is over. The age of truth begins now. He ended the recording and sent it to Ambassador Turner. In 2 days, the aliens would hear it. In 2 days, everything would change. Outside his window, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter as if they were welcoming their children home. Ambassador Lisa Turner sat in the pilot seat of the small human shuttle as it approached Zentari Prime. The alien space station was huge, bigger than any human city. Thousands of ships from different species moved around it like busy insects. Their defense systems are trying to scan us, said Lieutenant Gary Webb, her pilot. But our hull is not showing up on their sensors at all. They do not know we are here. Lisa watched the alien ships through the front window. Take us in slowly. I want them to see us when we are ready, not before. Behind her sat Dr. Kate Johnson and 2 human soldiers. This was first contact with an entire galaxy that had forgotten humanity existed. Lisa felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Ambassador, Kate said, looking at her instruments. I am reading 12 different alien species on that station. Their technology is about 500 years behind ours, but they have built something impressive here. Any signs of weapons pointed at us? Lisa asked. Hundreds, Lieutenant Webb replied. But none of them can see us to target us. Should I reveal our ship? Lisa took a deep breath. Do it, and transmit Captain Morrison's message on all frequencies. Webb pressed a button. Suddenly, the human shuttle became visible to alien sensors. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Warning. Sirens began wailing from the space station. Alien warships turned toward them with weapons charging. Radio channels filled with panicked voices speaking in languages the human computer quickly translated. Unknown vessel, you have appeared from nowhere. Identify yourself immediately or we will fire, came a harsh voice. Lisa activated the communication system. This is Ambassador Lisa Turner of the United Earth Alliance. We come in peace. We request permission to dock and address the Galactic Council. The radio went silent for several seconds. Then chaos erupted. Earth? Did they say Earth? The old stories speak of Earth, but that is impossible. Scan them again. How did they get past our defenses? Fleet Admiral Kreshtar stared at his screens in the station's command center. His reptilian features twisted in confusion and fear. The ship just appeared. Our best sensors showed nothing, then suddenly it was there. Sir, his aide reported, the energy readings from their ship do not match anything in our databases. The hull material seems to bend light around it. And, sir, the beings inside, they look exactly like the humans from the old myths. Kreshtar felt his blood run cold. Get me the High Counselor, now. In the council chamber, the 12 species representatives were already gathering in emergency session. The holographic display showed the small human shuttle hanging in space, seemingly defenseless, but appearances could be deceiving. High Counselor Vorth arrived first, his old lizard-like body moving faster than it had in years. Show me everything, he demanded. The display revealed scans of the shuttle's occupants. Two-armed, two-legged beings with hair on their heads and smooth skin. They looked exactly like the ancient pictures in Vorth's oldest files. By the void, whispered Ambassador Nethara as she entered the room. Her crystal body flickered with nervous energy. They are real. The humans are real. Commander Zixtal clicked his arms together rapidly, a sign of extreme stress in his people. This cannot be happening. The humans have been gone for 1,000 years. They are supposed to be extinct. Clearly they are not, Vorth said grimly. The question is what they want. Captain Rexara burst into the room, his warrior instincts taking over. My fleet is ready to attack. We should destroy them before they can bring more ships. No, Vorth said firmly. Look at their technology. They appeared from nowhere, passed through our best defenses like they did not exist. If we attack them, we may be starting a war we cannot win. On the shuttle, Lisa watched the alien ships surrounding them, dozens of warships with weapons aimed at her small craft. But she felt no fear. The shuttle's shields could protect them from anything these aliens might fire. Permission to dock has been granted, Lieutenant Webb reported, but they are asking us to leave our weapons behind. Lisa smiled. Tell them we carry no weapons. It was true. Human technology had advanced beyond the need for crude weapons. Their tools could serve as weapons if needed, but they were primarily designed for peace. The docking bay was filled with alien soldiers when the shuttle landed. Lisa stepped out first, her hands visible and empty. The aliens stared at her in amazement and fear. I am Ambassador Lisa Turner, she said clearly. I represent humanity, the children of Earth. We have returned to our home galaxy. A tall, blue-skinned alien stepped forward. I am Captain Rexara. You will come with us. The Council wishes to speak with you. As they walked through the station's A corridors, Lisa noticed how the aliens looked at her. Some stared in wonder. Others backed away in fear. A few whispered prayers in their own languages. The council chamber was vast and impressive. Lisa found herself standing before 12 very different alien species, all looking at her like she was a ghost come to life. High Counselor Vorth spoke first. If you are truly human, then prove it. The old records speak of many things about your people. Lisa nodded. What would you like to know? The records say humans came from a world with large bodies of water and a single moon. They say humans could survive in many different environments and had a gift for making friends with other species. That is correct, Lisa replied. Earth had vast oceans and one large moon. We adapted to many climates. And yes, we have always believed in working together rather than fighting. The chamber erupted in excited chatter. Several aliens spoke at once in their own languages. Silence, Vorth commanded. If you are human, where have you been? Why did you disappear? Lisa's expression grew sad. We were driven out by a plague that killed only humans. Our ancestors loaded the survivors onto great ships and fled beyond the galaxy to survive. We have spent 1,000 years in the dark between galaxies, rebuilding our strength. And now you have returned, Ambassador Nethara said. What do you want from us? We want to come home, Lisa said simply. We want to rejoin the community of worlds. We have much to offer and much to learn from you. Captain Rexara stood up aggressively. This galaxy belongs to us now. We built the council. We created the peace. You cannot just return and claim what you left behind. Lisa remained calm. We do not wish to claim anything. We wish to earn our place among you. But understand this. We are not the same humans who left. 1,000 years in the void has changed us. We are stronger now, more advanced. If you choose to be our enemies, you will find us very difficult to fight. To demonstrate her point, Lisa touched a small device on her wrist. Suddenly, her shuttle outside became invisible again, even though dozens of aliens were watching it. The council chamber fell silent. The implications were clear. If humans could make their ships invisible at will, what other technologies did they possess? We will consider your request, Forth said finally. But know that many in the galaxy will not welcome your return. Lisa smiled. We understand. Change is always difficult. But ready or not, humanity is home. As she was escorted back to her shuttle, Lisa could hear the council chamber erupting in heated debate behind her. Some wanted to welcome the humans. Others wanted to fight them. A few simply wanted to hide, but it was too late for any of those choices. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Kate Johnson stood on the surface of Earth for the first time in her life. The planet was dead now, a brown and gray world under a poisoned sky. No plants grew here, no animals lived here. The oceans had dried up long ago. This was what remained of humanity's birth world. The radiation readings are off the charts, said Lieutenant Bob Davis, scanning the area with his instruments. Whatever happened here, it was not natural. Kate knelt down and scooped up a handful of dirt. Even through her protective suit, she could see that something was wrong with it. The soil should have healed itself in 1,000 years. Instead, it was still sick. This was not just a plague, she said into her radio. Captain Morrison, you need to see this data. On the ship above, Captain Jake Morrison studied the readings Kate was sending him. The patterns were clear to anyone who knew what to look for. Biological warfare, he said quietly. Someone did this to us on purpose. Admiral Steve Carter stood beside him, his face growing dark with anger. Who? Which species attacked us? We need more information, Jake replied. Kate, expand your search. Look for any records or ruins that might tell us what really happened. Kate's team spent 3 days searching the ruins of what had once been New York City. The great buildings had fallen long ago, but in some deep bunkers they found what they were looking for, computer systems that had somehow survived the centuries. I have something, Kate called out excitedly. Emergency government records from the final days. The files are damaged, but I can read parts of them. She connected her portable computer to the ancient system. Slowly, data began to flow. Files marked with the highest security levels. Messages between world leaders. Plans for the Great Exodus. Ships. Listen to this, Kate said as her team gathered around. Message from Earth Defense Command, dated just before the evacuation. The plague shows clear signs of artificial construction. Genetic markers indicate it was designed specifically to target human DNA. This is not a natural disease. Repeat, this is an act of war against humanity. Lieutenant Davis felt sick. They tried to wipe us out completely. There is more, Kate continued reading. Investigation teams have identified the source. The plague was created by a group calling itself the Hegemony, species unknown, motivation unknown. They hit every human world at the same time. Billions are dead. The Exodus ships are our only hope. Kate's voice shook as she read the final entry. If anyone finds this record in the future, know that humanity was murdered. We did not die from bad luck or nature. We were killed because someone feared what we might become. The news spread through the human fleet like wildfire. Admiral Carter called an emergency meeting of all ship commanders. The holographic conference room was filled with angry faces. 1,000 years, Carter said, his voice hard as steel. 4 1,000 years we thought we were refugees from a natural disaster. Now we learn we were victims of genocide. Captain Danny Rodriguez slammed his fist on his desk. Who were these hegemony people? Are they still alive? That is what we need to find out, Jake said. But we must be careful. If this hegemony still exists, they may be watching for our return. Dr. Johnson's research team worked day and night to uncover more evidence. They searched through the databases of every human world they could reach. Slowly, a picture began to form. The hegemony had been a secret alliance of the galaxy's oldest and most powerful species. They had controlled trade routes, influenced governments, and eliminated any threats to their power. When humanity began expanding rapidly through the galaxy, making friends with many species and sharing advanced technology, the hegemony saw them as a danger. They were afraid of us, Kate explained to the fleet commanders. Humans were different. We did not conquer other species. We worked with them. We shared our knowledge freely. The hegemony could not control us, so they decided to destroy us. Captain, Helen Brooks had been leading her own investigation in the Outer Rim systems. She contacted Jake with disturbing news. Captain, we have found something you need to see. There are hidden bases in dead star systems. Old technology, but still active, and they have been preparing for something. Jake's blood ran cold. Preparing? For what? For our return, Helen replied. These bases have been developing weapons specifically designed to fight humans. They knew we might come back someday. The discovery of the hegemony bases changed everything. Jake ordered full reconnaissance of the hidden facilities. What they found was worse than anyone had imagined. The hegemony had never disbanded. They had simply gone underground after successfully driving humanity from the galaxy. For 1,000 years, they had been the secret rulers behind many of the current governments. The Galactic Council thought it was independent, but many of its members were controlled by hegemony agents. They have been playing a long game, Admiral Carter reported. Keep the galaxy divided into small, weak governments, prevent any species from becoming too powerful, and always be ready in case humanity returned. Even worse, the bases contained new biological weapons, diseases designed to target the genetic changes humans had developed during their exile. The hegemony had been studying human DNA from old records, trying to find ways to kill the evolved humans who might someday return. Jake called Ambassador Turner, who was still on Centauri Prime, trying to negotiate with the Galactic Council. Lisa, we have a problem. The species you are talking to may not be as independent as they think. The same people who tried to wipe us out are still pulling the strings. Lisa's voice was tight with worry. That would explain a lot. Half the council wants to welcome us, but the other half keeps pushing for conflict. And some of their arguments sound like they are reading from a script. Can you identify which council members might be compromised? I am working on it. But, Jake, if the hegemony still controls part of the galaxy, then we are not just coming home. We are walking into a trap. Back on Earth, Kate made one final discovery that changed how humanity saw their situation. In the deepest government bunkers, she found a message left by the last human leaders. To our children who may someday return, the message began. If you are reading this, then you survived what they did to us. You are stronger than we were. Do not make our mistakes. We trusted too easily. We shared too freely. We believed that all species wanted peace as much as we did. Learn from our failure. Be wise. Be careful. And if necessary, be ruthless. The galaxy is more dangerous than it appears. Jake listened to the message with mixed feelings. The humans who fled Earth had been peaceful explorers. The humans who returned were something else. They had spent 1,000 years learning to survive in the harshest environment imaginable. They had developed technology that seemed like magic. And now, they knew that their original home galaxy was still controlled by their enemies. Orders, sir? Admiral Carter asked. Jake looked out at the stars that had once seemed so welcoming. We continue with the plan, but now we do it with our eyes open. The hegemony tried to kill us once. They are preparing to try again. This time, we will be ready. The age of innocence was over. Humanity had returned not just as explorers seeking a new home, but as the survivors of genocide facing the people who had tried to destroy them. The galaxy was about to learn what humans had become when they were forced to evolve in the darkness between the stars. The war that everyone expected never came. Instead, something far more profound happened across the galaxy. It started when the Hegemony activated their secret weapon. From hidden bases in dead star systems, they released a new plague. This one was designed to target the genetic changes humans had developed during their 1,000-year exile. The biological weapon spread quickly through the galaxy, carried by unsuspecting trade ships. But when the plague reached human settlements, nothing happened. Dr. Kate Johnson stood in the medical bay of the Defiance, watching test results that made the Hegemony's worst fears come true. "The virus cannot affect us," she reported to Captain Morrison. "Our consciousness does not exist purely in biological form anymore. We have become something that disease cannot touch." The humans had evolved beyond their original limitations. Their minds existed in quantum fields that connected to their bodies, but were not trapped by them. Death was no longer permanent. Disease was no longer possible. They had become something that transcended the physical world while still remaining recognizably human. The Hegemony spent 1,000 years preparing to fight the humans they remembered. Admiral Carter said during the fleet commander's meeting, "They never imagined what we have become." The failure of their ultimate weapon sent panic through the Hegemony's hidden network. Across the galaxy, their agents began revealing themselves as they scrambled to organize more conventional attacks. Captain Danny Rodriguez was patrolling near a Hegemony base when it launched a fleet of warships at his scout vessel. 20 enemy ships approaching," his navigator reported. "They are firing everything they have." Danny watched the weapons fire pass harmlessly through his ship. The human vessels existed in multiple dimensions at once. Physical attacks simply could not touch them. "This is Captain Rodriguez to Hegemony Fleet," he broadcast. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Surrender now and we will not retaliate." The Hegemony ships continued their futile attack for another hour before their commanders realized the truth. They were fighting an enemy that had evolved beyond their ability to hurt. But humans did not respond with violence. Instead, they did, something that shocked both their enemies and their potential allies. Ambassador Lisa Turner stood before the Galactic Council with representatives from a dozen Hegemony-controlled governments. "We know who you really serve," she said calmly. "We know about the secret bases, the biological weapons, the 1,000-year plan to prevent our return." The alien representatives tried to deny everything, but Lisa continued. "We could destroy your hidden masters easily. Our technology is far beyond anything you possess, but we will not do that. Instead, we offer you something else." She gestured, and the air in the council chamber filled with holographic displays, images of dead worlds being restored to life, diseased populations being healed instantly, ancient technologies that could solve every problem the galaxy faced. "We offer you partnership," Lisa said. "Not conquest, not revenge. Partnership." The demonstrations that followed changed everything. Human medical technology could cure any disease and reverse aging. Human engineering could restore dead worlds in days instead of centuries. Human energy systems could provide unlimited clean power to any civilization. Captain Helen Brooks led the effort to share these technologies with species that wanted them. "We are not trying to rule you," she explained to crowds of amazed aliens. "We are trying to help you become the best versions of yourselves." The effect on the galaxy was immediate and dramatic. Species that had been enemies for generations suddenly found they had no reason to fight. Worlds that had been slowly dying were restored to garden paradises. People who had lived in poverty found themselves in societies of abundance. The Hegemony's control began to crumble. It was hard to maintain secret power when the people you controlled no longer needed what you offered. Fear and scarcity had been the Hegemony's tools. Humans offered hope and plenty. "Sir," Lieutenant Amy Collins reported to Captain Morrison, "we are receiving surrender offers from Hegemony bases across the galaxy. They want to negotiate." Jake considered the offer carefully. "What does Admiral Carter recommend?" He wants to hunt down every last one of them, Amy replied. Make them pay for what they did to Earth. And what do you think, Lieutenant? Amy thought for a moment. I think we are better than they are. We always have been. That is why they were afraid of us in the first place. Jake nodded. Set up a meeting, but not to accept their surrender. To offer them the same choice we have given everyone else. The meeting took place on a neutral space station. The Hegemony leaders were ancient beings from species that had controlled the galaxy for thousands of years. They came expecting to negotiate the terms of their defeat. Instead, they found Jake Morrison sitting across from them with an offer they could not understand. We know what you did, Jake said simply. You tried to commit genocide against my people. You have spent 1,000 years preparing to do it again. By every law of justice, we should destroy you. The Hegemony leaders waited for the trap, the demand for revenge. But we will not, Jake continued. Instead, we offer you the same thing we offer everyone. Join us in building something better. Help us heal the galaxy. Share in the abundance we can create together. The oldest Hegemony leader, a being so ancient his species' name was forgotten, spoke in a voice like grinding stone. Why? We are your enemies. We tried to destroy you. Because that is who we are, Jake replied. We do not win by destroying our enemies. We win by turning them into friends. It has always been the human way. Not all the Hegemony leaders accepted the offer. Some fled to distant galaxies, preferring exile to submission. Others chose to fight hopeless battles against enemies they could not hurt. But many, especially the younger ones, chose to join the new order humans were creating. Years passed. The galaxy transformed beyond recognition. The Galactic Council became a true democracy representing hundreds of species. War became almost unthinkable when any conflict could be resolved through human mediation and technology. Captain Morrison, now Admiral Morrison, stood on the observation deck of his flagship orbiting the restored Earth. The blue and green world below was beautiful again, home to millions of beings from dozens of species who had chosen to live together in peace. Sir, Captain Collins approached. Him. She had taken command of her own ship years ago but still visited her old captain regularly. The deep space sensors are detecting something interesting. Long-range signals from outside the galaxy. More Hegemony holdouts? Jake asked. No, sir. These signals have human signatures. Other exile fleets, still traveling between galaxies. They are asking for status reports. Jake smiled. The great human exodus had not been just one fleet. Hundreds of groups had fled in different directions when Earth fell. Now they were starting to come home. Send them our current position and an invitation to return, he ordered. Tell them the galaxy is safe again. Tell them it is time to come home. But even as some humans returned, others continued their journeys to distant star clusters. The gay exodus had become something larger than anyone had planned. Humanity was spreading throughout the universe, carrying the light of consciousness and cooperation to every corner of existence. Dr. Johnson, now elderly but kept healthy by human medical technology, published her final report on what humanity had become. We are no longer bound by the limitations of our original biology, she wrote. We exist as pure consciousness that can inhabit any form, survive in any environment, and live for as long as we choose. But we have not lost what made us human. We still believe in helping others. We still choose cooperation over conquest. We still dream of a universe where every being can reach their full potential. As Jake watched the sunset over Earth, he thought about the long journey that had brought them here. Humanity had been driven from their home as refugees. They had returned as something beyond the understanding of those who had exiled them. But they had returned as humans. Different, evolved, more powerful than their ancestors had ever imagined, but still recognizably the same species that had once looked up at the stars and dreamed of touching them. The galaxy was home again, and for the first time in 1,000 years it was truly at peace. In the vast darkness between galaxies, other human fleets continued their eternal journeys, carrying that same dream to distant worlds where new civilizations waited to learn that they were not alone in the universe. The children of Earth had become the children of the void, but they had never forgotten their most important lesson. Sometimes the greatest victory was not in defeating your enemies, but in helping them become your friends.